Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're doing amazing. Today, I want to talk about something super important. Stop being too friendly. Now, don't get me wrong. I love being kind. I love vibing with people. But sometimes, being too friendly can actually work against us. Here's why. We all grow up hearing that being kind is important, and it truly is. Spreading positivity, being approachable, smiling at people, helping out. These are all beautiful qualities that make us better human beings. But as we move forward in life, something slowly becomes clear. Not everyone deserves access to your energy. It's one of those life lessons you learn not from books or lectures, but from experience. Real, sometimes painful experience. We often think that being friendly and open-hearted will naturally lead to better relationships, stronger connections, and good vibes all around. But that's not always how the world works. The truth is, there are people who see kindness as an invitation to walk all over you. They don't see your friendliness as a reflection of your good character. They see it as a weakness they can exploit, and that's why it becomes necessary to know who truly deserves to be in your space. When you're constantly pouring your energy into everyone around you, trying to be there for everyone, solve everyone's problems, cheer up everyone who's down, you start running on empty. You give, and at some point, you look around and realize no one's pouring back into you. It's draining, and it's not selfish to notice that. In fact, it's powerful. It's the first step toward protecting your mental peace. Your energy is valuable. It's the way you make people feel safe. It's the support you offer when someone's struggling. It's your creativity, your vibe, your presence. But when you give that to just anyone without boundaries, people can start to expect it. They feel entitled to your time, your effort, your emotional labor. And when they don't get it, they might call you cold or say you've changed, but the truth is, you're not being cold, you're being careful. You're learning that your energy is not a free-for-all. There's a difference between being friendly and being a people pleaser. When you're friendly, it's a part of your personality, but when you're a people pleaser, you're constantly sacrificing your own well-being just to keep others happy, even when they don't deserve that from you. The real danger is when you start believing that your value comes from how much you can give to others. It doesn't. Your value isn't defined by how available you are to everyone all the time. One of the hardest truths to accept is that some people only want you around for what you can do for them. They don't care how you're feeling or whether you're okay. They just know that you're the person who always shows up, always says yes, always forgives. But you are allowed to stop giving to people who don't give back. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to protect your vibe, even if it means disappointing someone who expected you to always be there for them. This isn't about becoming mean or closed off. It's about becoming intentional. You can still be kind, but you don't have to be available 24/7. You can still care about people, but not at the cost of your own mental health. You can still support your friends, but only when it's mutual, not one-sided. When you learn to protect your energy, you become more powerful, more peaceful, and more focused. You stop wasting time on people who drain you and start giving more time to the people who truly deserve it. Think about it. Your dreams, your peace, your creativity, your growth. Those things need energy too. If you're giving all of that to people who don't appreciate it, how much is left for you? That's a question we don't ask ourselves enough. Because we're so scared of being rude or distant or not liked. But honestly, it's better to be respected than to be liked for the wrong reasons. And the people who truly love you will always respect your boundaries. Start paying attention to how you feel after interacting with someone. Do you feel motivated, happy, lighter, or do you feel stressed, heavy, or emotionally exhausted? Your body and your intuition know who belongs in your space and who doesn't. You don't need a long list of reasons to walk away from someone who consistently drains your energy. Protecting your peace doesn't need justification. There's also something really empowering about realizing that you don't need to explain yourself to everyone. You can step back quietly, you can unfollow, you can distance yourself from drama without announcing it. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stop responding. Stop showing up for people who wouldn't do the same for you. Silence can be a strong boundary, and once you start setting those boundaries, the shift in your life is real. You start to attract people who respect your time, who ask how you're doing, who give as much as they take. You start to find your real circle, the one that uplifts you instead of draining you. That's the beauty of protecting your energy. You clear out the noise, and what's left is pure, genuine connection. If you're someone who's always been the friendly one, the go-to person, the one who fixes things, it's not easy to change. People might not understand right away. Some might even fall away, but that's okay. Growth comes with some distance, and sometimes you need to outgrow certain connections to grow into the best version of yourself. So remember this, your energy is sacred. It's your fuel, your light, your power. You don't owe it to just anyone. Be kind, yes. Be warm, yes. But don't be so available that people forget to value you. Learn to say no without guilt. Learn to pause before you pour, not because you're selfish, but because you finally understand your worth. Not everyone deserves access to your energy, and that's not just okay. It's necessary. There's this thing nobody tells you when you're trying to be there for everyone all the time. You think you're being a good friend, a loyal partner, a dependable person. And maybe you are, but slowly, without even realizing it, people start taking you for granted. They stop appreciating your efforts. They stop seeing your time as valuable. Because when you're too available, it sends a message that you have nothing else going on, that you'll always wait, that your presence is guaranteed. And just like that, your value starts to fade in their eyes. It's not about playing games or being distant just for the sake of it. It's about protecting your time, your energy, and your worth. When you're constantly showing up at everyone's convenience, putting your own needs on hold, replying instantly to every message, always saying yes, it might feel like you're building strong bonds, but in reality, what you're doing is telling people that your time isn't something they have to earn. And unfortunately, the more accessible you are, the less people feel the need to respect your boundaries. Let's be honest, people value what they have to work for. It's just human nature. Think about it. Why do we cherish rare things? Why do we hold on to friendships that required effort, trust, and consistency? Because anything that's too easy to get often feels like it's not worth much. When you're always available, people stop seeing your presence as special. It becomes expected, automatic, almost like background noise. Now think of someone in your life who doesn't always say yes, who respects their own space, who doesn't text back right away or drop everything for others unless it's truly important. When they do show up, it feels intentional, it feels meaningful, their presence has weight, their words have impact. That's what happens when you're not always available. You become valued, not just convenient. The problem is, many of us are afraid of being misunderstood. We worry that if we say no, or take time for ourselves, or stop replying to every message immediately, people will think we've changed, or worse, that we don't care. But it's actually the opposite. Taking care of yourself doesn't mean you care less about others. It just means you're finally starting to care about you, and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's what healthy self-respect looks like. The people who genuinely care about you will never get upset because you took time to breathe. The ones who love you won't punish you for choosing rest or growth over instant replies. They'll understand. They'll respect your pace, but the ones who only liked having you around because you were always there, they might fall away, and that's okay. Let them, because your worth should never depend on your availability. Being too available also hurts your own journey. You lose time you could have spent building yourself, learning something new, working on your goals, or just taking a mental break. When your focus is constantly on others, what they need when they need it, how they feel, you begin to fade in your own story. You put yourself last. You miss chances, moments, and even your own growth because you're trying so hard not to disappoint anyone. And let's not ignore this part. Sometimes people test your limits. They want to see how far you'll go, how much you'll give, how quickly you'll drop everything for them. It's not always done with bad intentions, but it happens. And if you keep giving without ever pausing, they start assuming that's just who you are, someone who'll always be there, no matter how they treat you. That's how your value silently drops, not because you're not amazing, but because you made yourself too easy to access. Being less available doesn't mean you're becoming rude or distant. It just means you're starting to prioritize your peace. You're being more intentional with your time. You're creating space to grow. And ironically, that's when people start noticing your absence. That's when they start realizing how much your presence actually meant. You've shifted the dynamic. You've reminded them that your time is a gift, not a given. Another way your value can drop is in relationships, romantic or otherwise. When you're the one always initiating, always checking in, always making plans. At first, it seems sweet and thoughtful. But after a while, the other person might start slacking because they know you'll pick up the effort. And before you know it, the connection becomes one-sided. You're carrying the weight of two people while they just show up whenever they feel like it. That's not connection. That's convenience. You deserve more than that. You deserve to be with people who match your energy, who notice when you go quiet, who put in effort without being asked. And most importantly, you deserve to feel like you matter, not because you're constantly around, but because you bring real value to the table. This doesn't mean cutting people off or turning cold. It means choosing wisely. It means checking in with yourself. Is this person valuing my time, or are they just used to having access to me? It's okay to let go of habits that made you feel small. It's okay to step back, take your time, and protect your energy like it's gold, because it is. People might not notice your worth until you stop overgiving, and honestly, that moment of realization is powerful. It's the turning point when you move from being the always there person to the worth waiting for person. And once you make that shift, you'll feel a difference, not just in how others treat you, but in how you treat yourself. So if you've been showing up for everyone, giving more than you get, always trying to be available, just pause, take a deep breath, ask yourself, is this serving me or just exhausting me? The answer will guide you. Being too available is not the flex it's made out to be. Real strength is in knowing your value, protecting your peace, and making your time matter. When you do that, your presence becomes a privilege, not an expectation. And that's exactly how it should be. So yeah, be kind, be respectful, but don't be afraid to set boundaries. That's not being rude, it's being smart. And trust me, the right people will always understand and respect that. Thank you.